actually broadcasting, and I have car audio and me audio. And then I need to link it in the AXR chat. Oh, what a hero. Can someone check that it's working? Because my dumbass left my computer in my room and I am under, like, blankets. Update, Harry. It is now 2.3 degrees and the apparent temperature is 0.7. Equivalent, yeah. Apparent temperature and real feel, same difference. Storm can definitely see the stream because he's made the joke about... Yeah. But can you hear car audio and can you hear us or me? Okay, thank you. Very professional. Oh, get rid of my voice. I don't want to hear that. That's for other people to deal with. I'm going to have to leave this party chat to do this because I cannot hear Harry complaining about that. Anyway. No illusion, you can't quit. Never give up, never surrender. I don't know. I'll find out. Oh, that's cool. Illusion's an AMG, yes. Oh, he must have hopped off track and then hopped back in or something. Oh yeah, that's such a good camera angle. Have they changed? Oh wow, we get like this crazy onboard cam now that like shuffles around super awkwardly. I mean, it's a cool camera angle. It just, I think it doesn't handle the latency very well. Anyway. You can see here that Caliber uses first gear in the hairpin, the first hairpin. You did not send it, Harry. You did not send it, Harry. Alright, I gotta leave this to chat. I'm just gonna be sitting there making jokes with you guys. And everyone's gonna go, what is this guy talking about? Alright. This is what 6 AM looks like when it's 2 degrees. We are cold, tired, and not functional. Alrighty. Okay. Let's fix the audio balance. Alright, we have 5 people in. Let's see what Root is saying. Alright everyone, hello and welcome to the AequepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship. This is Season 2 of the GT World Endurance Championship after a successful Season 1. This is Round 3. Ooh, that's a big cloud of smoke there from Illusion. Just making contact. So this is Round 3 of Season 2, and this is the second race here at Autopolis Circuit, with the first race having commenced earlier and finished earlier with a 30-second monsoon, apparently, that caused absolute chaos up and down the grid, and those who were lucky or opportunistic were able to capitalise, and those who were not were punished severely. And we appear to have a rolling start, and I have to leave and come back, as I recall. Oh, not yet. Gone early. So pole position, it's the STS Docilla Racing team with STS Nibbles, Speedyman Charles, Noir and Tara is in second, Shadow. Let's have a look. On the run to 1, The Corvette looking to get the run on the McLaren 650S, but Noir in the BMW M6 dives up the inside, and then a lot of latency pushes Charles wide. Then there's just chaos as he re-enters the circuit, and he's now down to 7th after not a great start there in that Corvette. That was so promising, and then suddenly Noir appeared, and then latency moved everyone around. We'll have to see that one go down to the stewards. So the people to watch for are, of course, SBM Caliber, who's a very, very quick driver. Oh, geez, Tim there getting some very interesting latency in 6th place, and also in a Corvette. So it's latency versus the Corvettes at the moment, by the look of things. So SBM Caliber in the BMW M6, he is an absolute weapon, a machine. He's been unbelievably quick in previous seasons and previous races of this season. He is absolutely one to watch for the end of this race. Or committing to the inside there, but not quite getting enough with the wobbling Corvette. But they are now side by side going down the hill. Question is, will he get enough to clear, or will he still overlap as they turn in? Charles makes sure there's still overlap, but runs deep. He's off. There goes Caliber through, and Charles is now back to 8th. Does he stay on the road? Yes, he does, with Mr. Stolly, who was very competitive last year for the FTR team. And Illusion also for AXR, another very competitive driver. So the back of the grid here, deceptively well stacked, as the top 7 seem to be pulling away. Speedy Man Charles not looking so speedy, but he looks very tilted as he's been off the road a couple of times, but not really his fault either. So obviously not in his rhythm yet, and it looks like Stolly's going to make a run. But we go up with Caliber, who is slipstreaming Timlaw for Clockwork Motorsport. SBM, I believe, are running a raw car. Oh, and he's up the inside, gets it done. Good, clean driving. Tim on the outside, stays alive, but unfortunately down to 7th for him, and Caliber is coming. He's already 6th, and you can see the group in front of them, not very far away. AXR Joker for the AequepaX Racing team is in 5th, behind SMM Shadow for the AequepaX Motorsport, unless they've changed their team name, which they might have done. Caliber's just making up so much ground on those entry phases by just being neat and tidy. And that's his advantage. It means he gets into the corner really well, which means he can outbrake you and still make an apex. The other team. And that allows him to make really clean and effective overtakes. He's not just getting past you on straight line, he's just outbraking you because he can get the car stopped and turned more effectively. And that's giving him better tyre wear, it's giving him better pace, and it just lets him pass people and make it look super easy. Already up into 5th. I think at the front it's Nibbles running away from Noir and Tares, so it's Stossilla and Clockwork in 1st and 2nd. But my understanding is that's the Clockwork car that hasn't had the best season. The Clockwork car that has had the best season is Timlaw, who's down to 7th as AXR Joker has come through. Joker's made the move on Tim, and they are now 5th, 6th and 7th. Speedway Charles now starting to pull away from Mr. Stolly, so I'd suggest he's got his things sorted out. And there goes Caliber in a place you don't normally overtake, as he just clears the R8 like it wasn't a mid-engine car. That's ridiculous. Caliber just carving through this field. I don't know what the fastest lap is about to be, but it's looking a lot quicker with him going through the field. He sets the fastest lap while making passes. What a machine. The next man up the road for Caliber to consume is Jaylee. That is formerly he drove for, I thought, Stossilla, but it would appear he's driving for a different team this season, sorry. I'm not sure who it is, to be honest with you. I've been caught out on that one, unless they've got a second car. But again, another driver who was very successful last season. Oh, big tank slapper there from Caliber, but again, losing no time. It's a 1.5 second lead between 2nd and 3rd, and a 1 second lead from 1st to 2nd, so won't be long before Caliber joins the fight and takes his attempt for the race win. Will the leaders put up more of a fight? So it's Nibbles still leading comfortably in the McLaren. Noir and Tares in his beloved BMW M6. He's done a lot of racing in this car over the years with his team Clockwork Motorsport, but currently unable to do anything about the raw pace of the McLaren ahead of him, and seemingly unable to pull away from Caliber behind. Oh, just clean. Oh, that wasn't as clean, with a bit of latency there. I can see why the Finn would be a bit disappointed in that one. Caliber getting up the inside and then having his latency nudge him wide, allowing Caliber to go through, but yeah, not ideal for everyone. But still, he had better rotation by a long way in the mid corner to make that happen. Now it's 1.4 seconds, the fastest lap again. He's a second a lap quicker than the guys at the front. But he's on softs. So is, well, most of the people actually. Oh no, half the field's on mediums, half the field's on softs. So we have strategy. And that always makes things just a little bit more interesting. But that would explain why Caliber is on an absolute tear as one of the quicker drivers, but he's also on soft tyres. So potentially his strategy is just run softs until it rains and then make it work from there. So it will be probably no more than 1 or 2 laps before Caliber ends up in the lead. But will he stay there on strategy? Because he's already spent 4 laps coming through the field, and he will have to pit at least one more time than everyone based on the tyre wear expectations, unless he can do something special with his incredible pace and incredible tyre wear that comes with that pace. Because once he gets to the front, he can, in theory, just back it right out with his 1 second lap advantage and just look after the tyres to try and get back to a strategy that allows him to run mediums, or his strategy might just be running softs. I have no idea, because between stints, I know that certain teams are running different strategies between the same cars. So it's, you know, same team, same car, but we've got 2 different drivers in, so we need 2 different strategies, because they have different techniques, different requirements. Alright, Caliber here lining up Noir and Torres in the other M6. Both going out wide. Will Noir get back to stop Caliber from coming through? He does so, but I would expect Caliber to outbrake Noir into turn 1. Noir might just be within slipstream himself, but so is Caliber. And Caliber pulls out, cruises on by, and will outbrake him into turn 1. Even with the slipstream, nothing Noir could do there. Caliber just too quick off the previous corner, got a nice slipstream himself. That brake glow went from on to off immediately, no fade out, and Caliber is now up into second and chasing a race leader, STS Nibbles. Now Nibbles, having moved from the Alpha, no, sorry, I just realised that I made a mistake. Nibbles running the Alfa Romeo last season, now into the just as mid-engined McLaren 650S. It should, in theory, have better rotation as a mid-engine, but it could have worse tyre wear. So the thing we saw last season, might have been last year as well, that the McLaren had great tyre wear, even though it was mid-engine. But we've seen so many updates since then, anything can happen. But my expectation is that car will be great on tyres, and Autopolis is known for being diabolical on tyres. But Caliber lining up the McLaren. He will be right under the wing for the final sector here. It's a question of, can he sneak by before the straight, or will he sneak by on the straight? Well, good defensive line from Nibbles, holding Caliber up for another corner at least. And you can see Noir there, 1.4 seconds back and fading quickly. So Nibbles obviously was saving a bit of tyres or something in the background and is now pushing like crazy, trying to pull away from Caliber and Noir and Torres. But Caliber in the slipstream, we've seen this about 4 times now. Caliber in the slipstream will just pull out at the end of the straight and will sail on past. Ooh, but Nibbles with a much better exit and a much better straight line speed. Caliber unable to pass. That's the first time Caliber has got to the back of someone and been unable to clear them immediately. Could that be the tyre wear coming in, or is that just the raw pace of the McLaren finally being shown? Noir and Tara is now 1.5 seconds back. The Stossilla car is disappearing here at the front. That could also be the tyre wear of the McLaren showing, which is just better than they've got that sorted out better than the rest of the field. We'll find out as time goes on, but I'm waiting to see this move for the lead before I go back and check in on the rest of the field, because a lot has happened in the background. As you can see, Timor is down to 8th, Illusion is up to 7th, Nibbles goes off wide on the sweeper. That allows Caliber through around the outside, and he will now have dirty tyres, so he has to be very careful here at the hairpin. Oh, goes a little deep. but is able to just get it rotated despite that dirty tyres effect making things hard for him. And then no drive traction and Caliber's away. He's broken slipstream. Everything is coming up Caliber. The man, the machine. He is the Terminator of this series. Doesn't matter where you start him, what car you put him in. He is a diabolical threat, likely to win any given race unless something goes wrong. And even then, he still might come back and win it. And now, due to that little mistake, we've got Nibbles and Noir looking for... Now, who will have the better tyre? Yeah, you can see there from the M6 on softs, there was far more tyres available to Nibbles in the Stacilla Racing Team car. But who has more tyres out of Noir and Nibbles? I don't know, and I'm not going to find out until later on when we see people pitting and the strategies reveal themselves. Noir, unable to get an effective enough run, forks to the outside, will try and get a cutback, but he's not going to get one because that McLaren is just too quick. Driven too well, and Noir's going to have to work harder if he wants to steal second place away from the Stacilla Racing Team car. So a quick rundown. We have SVM Caliber, almost out of tyres, looking to pit very soon, in the lead, but a comfortable 2.3 seconds clear of STS Nibbles in the Stacilla Racing Team car. Noir and Tires for GTWEC Motorsport. Then we have Jay, I can never pronounce that name, I'm very sorry, who I think was running for... I thought it was TSG or something, actually, because they've got Autodesk and a few other things. But anyway, it must be a fusion of the two. I'm not sure. Anyway, back in fifth, you've got AXR Joker in the Honda Genesis. Apparently that car is really good on tyres, from what I've been told, but maybe not compared to that McLaren, because Nibbles had fantastic tyre wear. Bit of a gap back to the Sideworks Motorsport, or Sidemax Motorsport SOM Shadow, in a lovely Audi R8 Evo 2, I believe that is, with the crazy reverse swan necks. Those wings make no sense in real life. I do not understand how they've built them. Straight after that, it's Tim Law, who's got back past Illusion since I last looked, and he is looking to now move forward and catch up to Shadow, pass him, get back into the top six, and maybe look towards fifth. Illusion in the AMG. Wow, he's run out of tyres completely. They've got horrible degradation in that AMG. He's even on mediums. He's got worse tyres than Caliber up front on the softs. He's 20 seconds down with worse tyre wear. That is not good for the second AequepaX car. Will he come in this lap? No, he won't. He'll go another lap, but oh dear, things not going at all well for, excuse me, Illusion. I wonder if that reset just before the start took his setup away and now he's got horrible understeer. We'll have to find out after the race, but that is not good news for the AequepaX boys. They've done a lot of work to make the series happen and do well in that series. Now we've got Mr. Slowly, who I think's had a pit stop in lap 3 there. Must have got some damage. Made a mistake there because he's got two 58-second laps back-to-back, and Mr. Slowly was anything but for the Full Throttle Racing team. He was very consistent in previous AequepaX Endurance events, and especially last season he was running top 5 basically every event, despite that 4GT trying to kill them most days. Some days it was helpful. And we have in 10th, Speedy Man Charles, who has a 2-minute 10 and a 1:57, which tells me he's also been through the pits because he has lovely, lovely fresh tyres. So not the best start for Charles. He started second, was looking to take the lead, and then got shuffled off the road a couple of times, and has not quite got back into his rhythm. Borkin saying the Genesis abysmal on tyres. Now, is the Genesis abysmal on tyres, or are the users abysmal on tyres? Frequency. Where's frequency? Oh, Bonken is STS frequency. Right, okay, thank you. Let's see, is anything happening in terms of fights? It looks like the only fight at the moment is Tim Law and Shadow. A lap ago, Tim looked like he just cleared Illusion, was making his way towards Shadow. He has now caught Shadow. I'm guessing Shadow's tyre wear is worse than Tim's because... have a look at those front lefts. Yep, I would say that Tim Law in that Corvette has got better tyre wear than the mid-engined Audi R8. Despite being mid-engine, his right rear is probably one of his best tyres. Tim pulls out on the straight. Corvette, notorious for being a bit quick in a straight line and not particularly good at anything else, is alongside into the braking zone. Will he get it done? Illusion's in. No, he doesn't get it done on the way in. Tries to turn in, bounces off Shadow, runs wide, and he'll have to try again. So Illusion, with good fuel saving, I think, compared to most of the people, about right, is in the pits on a lap at the end of lap 8. So he'll be taking, it's a 90-minute stint, so he's done 15. He'll be taking 6 stints, maybe have to sneak 1 extra lap somewhere. And Shadow goes very wide into the hairpin for the Sideways car, but because Tim's mistake at turn 1, he is not able to capitalise, but now he's back on the bumper where he needs to be, turning in nice and early, just trying to feed the nose clean air to avoid washing white here. I wonder if the Corvette is what's particularly slow this week, because they... Oh, that looks like very deep from Shadow, maybe a lag bump, but Tim not able to capitalise. Well, look like a lag bump for way out. Frequency, happy to have me back in commentary. I'm happy to be back despite the fact that it was 6:30 in the morning and 2 degrees Celsius, even though it's April. I live in Australia, it's not that cold normally. We're sitting there joking earlier that potentially snow in Australia, and we're sitting there going, that's never happened before. It has, of course, but not very often. So luckily for me, I'm inside under about 4 layers of clothing and a blanket. But somehow Shadow getting sideways, and he's off the road through the final corner, just keeps it out of the fence. So despite having slightly more rear tyres than front tyres, they have let go on the right-hand side there. I know it's because his right rear is much lower than his right front. He'll be in this lap, I think, and yep. So you've got Jaylee in, you've got Shadow in. Oh, but he's misread the entry to pit lane completely there. And we can see Caliber just continuing on the soft tyre, despite the fact that his front left tyre is almost non-existent. He doesn't seem to care. He was doing 45s until the previous lap. Now he's doing 46s, which is the first time he's lost ground to anyone around him, but he's going so much quicker than them until this point, it doesn't matter. And I'm guessing he only lost ground because he made a mistake, as opposed to because his car was just slow, because he was still pulling away from Nibbles there in second. So surely he's in this lap. I don't think Caliber is that good that he can drive around on no tyres. But it's Caliber, so he might just be able to drive around on no tyres. You just don't know. He's an absolute madman. I want to use the word freak, but people get upset by that, but he's freakishly good. Like, his abilities to drive a tuned car the way he wants to drive it is incredible. Like, this is, a lot of understeer there. This is, world class in terms of being able to compete at the top of the FIA level talent on an ability to tune and understand his own driving that you just do not see. And it cannot be understated how good this man is. Like, he's got no front left tyre, and he's still as quick as the guys behind him with half a medium left. And he's coming in this lap, avoiding the pit lane lines. He also pings off the wall. Nibbles continues. So, a change at the front. We have Nibbles continuing, so he's going to go longer. He's going to cut a pit stop out of this race. Looks like Noir has joined Caliber, and he's barely got any more tyres. He's barely got any more. Oh my lord. And Joker also continues in the abysmally tired Genesis X. Tim Law coming in as well for the second Clockwork car. So it looks like Clockwork have the same strategy here. And Jaylee in the Aston continues on. So it looks like Nibbles and Jaylee will be trying to... Sorry, Nibbles, Joker and Jaylee are going to cut a pit stop out. But Noir and Taris and Caliber have already come back out in front of them. Oh, hang on, Jaylee's already had a stop, has he? Yes, he had a stop previous lap. I apologise, that's my mistake. Because he has a 57 and a 59, and he's got brand new soft tyres on. So that makes sense. Mr. Slowly continuing in the Genesis as well. Tim coming back out in 7th place. Illusion, who stopped a couple laps previously, is now fighting Speedy Man Charles, and Shadow will have to come through both of them. I'm going to make an assumption that those two have swapped positions on this lap, but I don't know if they've just been nose to tail since Illusion came out of the pits, because I was being sloppy. Oh, Shadow almost with a dive into the hairpin. Oh, but he's then grabbed the curb and it's tried to spin him. That's disappointing for him. So Shadow losing ground here. He will definitely be behind Tim now. Wait, he's way behind Tim. Oh, because of that mistake, yes, sorry. So he's actually fighting Illusion on full position, and Charles will have to pit at some point, but maybe with his tyre choice, they will be pitting at different times, and we'll have to see how the strategy plays out. But it looks like mediums for everyone here in the back half. So most of the field on mediums, a couple of guys on softs, a couple of guys making mediums last as long as softs, a couple of guys not making mediums last as long as softs, and a couple of guys making mediums go as far as they should. So strategy is completely up in the air, and it is total chaos. It's about standard for Autopolis with the tyre wear there. So Nibbles does another lap. Everyone at the front here doing another lap. So there's at least one pit stop, potentially even two can cut out here with this strategy from the leading Stotzilla Racing team. The question becomes, will Noir and Tyrus come out ahead of Nibbles after his undercut? Where will Joker play out, and where will these guys feed back in when they are done? So Caliber had enough of those soft tyres. He's gone back to mediums. So it was softs just to get through the field and then look after them to get to lap 10 and then bolt the mediums on and run as long as they go. We'll see if he comes in on 10 laps or if he pushes for the extra distance to save a pit stop, because they may not need to go as far as these guys to try and save, potentially saving 2 pit stops instead of 1, but we will have to wait and see if that is the strategy, because it didn't look like they lost too much time. He's only 20 seconds off the lead, Caliber, after his stop. He was 5 seconds up, but that's a net loss of 25 seconds. That's not too bad here. The pit lane is quite short. So maybe 1 pit stop, 25 seconds is a lot, but maybe the extra laps on brand new tyres will be worth that much time over the 90 minutes, because we are only 21 minutes in to a 90-minute race. So we are not even a quarter yet. We'll see. Does Nibbles come in this time? Frequency letting us know that the afternoon weather conditions are cooler and have drastically changed the tyre wear that they've noticed. So they were expecting to see people going a lot longer in these stints because the tyre wear is not as bad. And Joker's in and traditionally hitting the outside wall there of the pit lane seems to be the way to do it. And Noir coming through, but Jaylee is right with him on those softs. That Aston on those soft tyres is looking very feisty. Noir going to be a bit confused here because he was nowhere near the Aston. Jaylee has just trucked towards him since his pit stop. And there you can see 45.9 and 45.5 in the last 2 laps. He's getting into a groove on those softs. I don't think he started on softs, but he pitted at the end of lap 9, so maybe he was on softs, and that's just their strategy and how it's going to work out. And with the lighter fuel load, maybe he gets better tyre wear and is able to... Oh, that looked awkward, but it was just lag. He'll be able to overcome that additional weight, allowing him to go to the 10 laps where Caliber and Noir Tires and Timler are on, which potentially gets him back onto a strategy that he's comfortable with. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see. This is an absolute slow burner, this one. We're going to have to wait and see how everything plays out. But all the parts are in motion at this point. Normally, these races take half an hour to sort of work out who's doing what and where they are. But at the moment, it is very much unknown as to who's doing what. With all the parts are already in motion, I think it feels like we've got more tyre wear compared to last season, but that's just Autopolis being Autopolis, where we can only do 10 laps on a set of mediums. 9 laps if you're Illusion. Poor bloke. He's a good guy. He doesn't deserve to have that much tyre wear. Hopefully that was just a bug where it's deleted his setup or something odd, because that was a lot of tyre wear for them to carry for the rest of the season, but hopefully it won't be as bad as it is here. Looking through the pack, it looks like we've got a bit of a cloud here as Timlaw has caught Joker. Mr. Slowly's ahead of all of them on his incredibly worn tyres. And it looks like Illusion is just ahead of Speedy Man, just cleared Speedy Man Charles, but we'll go back to... Is it Joker and Tim? Yeah, I think we'll go with Joker and Tim as Mr. Slowly comes in and hits the outside wall as is customary. So we've got a 1.9 metre per second wind from the south. So we've got two moves there. We've got Illusion in the background blocking Speedy Man Charles. Always moved twice there, but we'll have to see what the stewards say about that. Speedy Man not particularly happy, nibbling away on the bumper. Can he get alongside and make a move? Doesn't look like it just yet. He feigns the outside. Will he then cut back to the inside for a braking move? No, he does not. Sensibly waits it out, looking for an opportunity. Illusion, not the kind of driver you just dive bomb and hope that you get past. He's not that slow. He's definitely quick enough to hold his own. You have to beat him from a mistake or from just genuinely cleaner and quicker driving. You can't just throw it up the inside and expect him to disappear, because he will be on that apex quicker than you know. Tim also closing. So, still no pit stop from the lead car. This gap is down to 16 seconds. He's doing high 46s. I'm going to guess Noir will come out ahead of Nibbles, but they are going to cut at least one pit stop out. Definitely two now. He's doing 15 lap stints, which means he's going 50% further than the guys behind him did. So they will pit. I'll do the maths on this one. So it's, I think, 5 stops for the CDM cars, and this is going to be 3 for Nibbles, unless he does another lap. And then he will be... No, he still won't get to the half-hour mark to do 2 stops. So he'll get 3 pit stops, which means he saves 50 seconds coming down pit lane. This is going to be very interesting towards the end of the race, because after this pit stop, Noir will be ahead, but he will not be ahead by nearly enough. And he's going to have to do a lot of work to make the strategy play out for him. So I think Nibbles is looking very strong for at least a second place, maybe a first, because Caliber hasn't gained that much on him. Caliber's probably pulled 10 seconds out of him after gaining 5 in the first stint. If he's 50 seconds up the road, Caliber's going to have to keep going at that rate, and the gain they will get here for fresh tyres versus completely worn tyres is the biggest undercut advantage they will get until you equalise out in terms of when you pit again. So I can't tell if Nibbles has got that much tyre wear that he can actually just clean beat Caliber, which is bloody impressive. Anyway, we've got Joker here in the Genesis, Tim Law in the Corvette. So AequepaX Racing and Clockwork Motorsport 5th and 6th. Tim Law getting closer and closer and closer, inching his way towards the Genesis X. I wonder if and Nibbles is in at the end of lap 15 as expected. So it's 26 minutes, so it will be 4 stints. He's going to go to softs at some point, because that ends up being a really weird, awkward spot where you do 27 and then get to 54 minutes, and then it's 1 hour and 20, and then you've got 10 minutes left. So he will cut to softs, I reckon, after the second pit stop, and then just go ham and do maybe 10 lap stints to deal with the maximum, so 15, 15, 10, 10 to about 50 laps, something like that. Anyway, Tim getting closer, but not able to be close enough to launch a move. Joker sets a PB on that lap with a 1:46.302. He's only 1.8 seconds slower than Caliber, but remember, Caliber was on the soft tyre at the start of the race. Oh, Tim a little bit deep there. Unable to get it done. I think we see Noir and Jaylee still nose to tail. I thought I saw the arrows overlapping, but it's Jaylee getting close, but the tyre wear's starting to pull him away from Noir. It's a question of how far Jaylee can go on this set of tyres as to whether or not his strategy means he will have to race these guys by beating them on track and then have to come back through them again on the through the extra pit stops. But as we can see, Nibbles is 3.7 back, so he's only lost 5 seconds to Noir in that sequence, and he's cut 2 pit stops out. Oh, he is going to destroy the Clockwork boys. Clockwork are fighting for third here. They have got no hope of winning this race without some sort of influence of rain or some chaos. And Joker still able to hold off Tim Law. Tim Law unable to get any closer. I thought I saw more going on. I'll have a quick look around. Speedman Charles. Oh, there we go. It's Shadow and Illusion. Oh, contact! But it's okay. They'll get away with it. Illusion having lost the position. He's gone off the road and lost the position to Shadow. So Sidebikes Motorsport and AequepaX Racing fighting over 8th place here. And Illusion, oh wow, he's got no tyre wear. They've completely left him left fronts. That's what's happened. He's understeered wide, lost ground, and he's gone for it again. He's off in the gravel. Oh no. Illusion will be very upset. The fronts are just not hanging with him. He's doing 8 laps on mediums. That's definitely a problem. That's not a driver. That's not anything that you can deal with. That is absolutely, it's gone back to stock setup and taken away any control he had. But he's going to be fighting at Mr. Slowly here to try and stay ahead. Ooh, just about trimming the pit line. Oh, hits the wall, gets damage. Yeah, I've been waiting for that to happen because this is what happens at Autopolis. Mr. Slowly there, having made his first pit stop and made his second pit stop, nowhere near a third, will go through. So it looks like it is FTR and AXR, Full Throttle Racing, at the back of this grid as the sun drops. Have a quick look in at Caliber as he just does what Caliber does. Look at the fantastic tyre wear he's got going. It's in the top 3 quarters. He's done 6 laps, but he's on mediums. Noir with similar tyre wear, but better rears, interestingly. Just slightly better tyres. And he'll be actually pretty happy with his stint, because if you look at his gap to Caliber, he's not lost much time. So that first stint, Caliber pulled out 4 or 5 seconds over Nibbles, who was another second ahead of Noir. So since they've come out of the pits, those two have probably gained and lost half a second. So he'll be feeling really good about that until the team tells him that Nibbles is only 5 seconds behind and is doing 2 less pit stops. But Jaylee, the tyre wear is starting to hurt him as he's fading backwards. He's going to be likely in this lap, but if he could just sneak another lap, he might cut a pit stop out. And Illusion finishes his stop just in front of Nibbles and pulls out of the way. Does a great job there. And, well, this is just going to have to be... Yeah, Nibbles. So Nibbles is mowing down Noir. He's got so much more pace at this point. It's down to 3.4 seconds. It was 5 earlier. He is flying in that car. Yeah, and that 46.6 in the last lap from Noir, not good from him. And that's not really a drama because Jaylee isn't there, but Nibbles is right on the cusp of catching him. And Speedway and Charles also in, so we will see where Illusion comes out relative, but I think Illusion hitting the wall there, getting damage, is going to punish him, and he'll be nowhere near when they come out. And yet, necessarily having gone through, Illusion's going to be a while because he would have had to back up, restart, and also fix the damage. And we can see Tim is still 0.6 behind Joker. He hasn't quite got enough of an advantage, although it looks like Tim's wearing out the tyres quicker than Joker is, although Joker did box on lap 12, not lap 10, so he's got 2 lap fresher tyres. So even if Tim had more raw pace, the tyre wear is probably stopping him. However, he will get to undercut Joker at the next stop. However, he still needs to put a pit stop into him, which is we think is about 25 seconds, but that might be 25 seconds without fuel, because of course after the first stint you are forced to start with a full tank of petrol, and then you have to decide from there if you want to run your car, how far you want to run your car and how much fuel you need to do that. And we can see here Nibbles gaining now on Jaylee. Will Jaylee stay out? He does. It's now lap 19. I don't think he can get to lap 20, but maybe doing a 9-lap stint and then doing 10-lap stints will be enough for him to not lose a pit stop. And by running soft tyres, he gets the undercut and is able to overtake the Clockwork Motorsport car for what is currently second position, but it will be third position after they stop because Nibbles will come flying through. And of course, Caliber will remain ahead of them when they all pit at a similar time. It's just got so much more grip and pace in that McLaren. Jaylee's almost out of tyres. Even though they are a softer compound with more grip, with that much degradation, there is not much you can do about it. It's a question of how much time Nibbles loses in his pursuit of the Clockwork car and second position in this race. He's only 8 seconds off the lead as well. I reckon this is a winning car. Caliber's going to have to either go faster or find a way to cut out a pit stop, and even then 1 pit stop may not be enough because we are halfway, and 8 or 9 seconds is about halfway to a pit stop. So the win is very much up in the air. Oh, Nibbles not able to get it done. That sounded like someone going through it actually, but no, because he hasn't been able to get past. The dirty air means that when Jaylee understeers, he understeers with him, and he gets stuck on that wide line, losing time. And now the gap is 2 seconds from Jaylee to Noir, and that is time Nibbles cannot afford to lose because his gap to Caliber has blown out to 9.5 seconds on this lap. So out to 10 seconds this lap, and it was 8, but literally a lap ago. So a 45.4 and a PB on the previous lap. On this lap, oh, Jaylee's staying out with no front tyres. He wants to get back on that 20-lap cycle. He knows what he needs to do if he wants to try and finish on the podium in this race. But Nibbles pulls out with his very... Oh, Nibbles is on softs. He's decided that he's got such good tyre wear, he's just going to run softs and try and compete with the guys around him on the same strategy. Well, I did say they had to run softs somewhere. Maybe they're going to take the softs in the middle of the race and then go back to the mediums later, or it was just their plan to take one stint of mediums and then run softs, and that cuts out a pit stop. Maybe they're not cutting 2 pit stops out. Unless they go back to mediums, I don't think they will. But that explains why Nibbles is not losing ground, but his pace and tyre wear means that he's still saving that pit stop, I think. So this is going to be very interesting. If he can keep the pace up, I think he beats Caliber, even with one less stop. If he goes back to mediums, he should be able to beat Caliber with 2 left stops, but it depends what Caliber does in this stint, because he went from softs to mediums, and Nibbles has gone from mediums to softs. These strategies are all over the place. I think, though, Frequency gave the game away a bit earlier when he said that expect different strategies in this stint, because he knew that when the sun goes down, the temperature goes down. I think the Stosilla Racing Team boys have absolutely played a blinder. They know the tyre wear is going to become much, much better in the darkness, so they've gone to softs, and they're going to do a similar length of stint. So my guess is you need to do 18 laps in half an hour, so you have to do another 36 laps from lap 18, and if you put it on that, you need to do 39 laps. So they need to do 13 lap stints on the softs to cut 2 pit stops out, or they just do 10s basically. And there's Jaylee in. He completely had run out of tyres and lost 3.5 seconds. Oh, sorry, as Nibbles pulls Noir. That's my bad. Wasn't paying attention, got distracted, and Nibbles is able to outbrake Noir. Even though Noir getting a better run here, his medium shod tyres are not going to allow him to outgrip the very new tyres of the soft shod Nibbles. Looks like Noir and Tyre is out to lap 21. He's got better range in this stint compared to the last one. So maybe the pace is hot and he needs to extend, or maybe the lighter fuel load has let him get an extra lap, but the tyre wear not looking at all strong. It's about the same as Caliber, but I think... Oh, that didn't work. But I think Caliber's late-stage tyre wear is just better, and as a result, those 46.6s versus a 47.4, he's starting to pull away from Noir and Tara's. Mistakes creeping in now for Noir, the tyre wear getting to him, but he's got low fuel, and Joker 17 seconds back, and will be pitting soon. Tim must have come in. Yes, he has come in on that previous lap, and now he has a 1.5 second gap to Speedman Charles, a 13 second gap, 14 second gap even to Jaylee, and we'll see where Joker comes out in relation, because Tim hopefully looking to undercut him and have Joker and him fighting for their position. So Tim taking that early stop in order to undercut the 4th place AXR Joker. But that's, of course, after Jaylee has pitted with his now brand new soft tyres. He will be coming back towards Noah and Tara's very aggressively. The gap was about 4 seconds when he came into the pits after running out of tyres, but he'll be feeling amazing right now. All the grip in the world. He can carry as much speed as he wants now, as opposed to tiptoeing around and understeering. And Noir is in with the extra lap there. Oh, geez, guys, put the car up. They sat there for a while. And Joker goes through. He's still got a quarter tank of fuel, so he's at least a couple of laps away from his pit stop, but a similar level of tyre wear. So maybe the M6 gets really bad as it goes down, but it looks like Caliber is ignoring the tyre wear as he did in the first stint. As Nibbles comes back towards him, I think we will see these guys end up on a very similar strategy between these two. Maybe 1 pit stop instead of 2. And Caliber's going to have to pull something out if he wants to try and beat the Stosilla Racing Team here. The machine is being challenged by good strategy and good pace in the cars around him. It's not enough to be up by only 7 seconds unless he can find a way to... I don't believe what I'm seeing. It was a mistake. That looked like a mistake. It could have been latency, but it looked like he managed to leave the track even just a tiny little bit. It was a mistake from Caliber. First documented mistake from Caliber. Anyway, the Stosilla boys on their strategy will hopefully still cut a pit stop out of Caliber in order to take the lead and force Caliber to beat them on raw pace and pass them back on track, which would be a great way to finish this race. Very exciting, hopefully. But we'll have to wait and see. The pace from the Stosilla car, though, low 45s since that pit stop. Just trying to cycle the things out of the way. It was 45.7 on that lap. He pulled a second out of Caliber. I wonder. However, when Caliber comes back out on those mediums, if he chooses to go mediums again, will be faster. As you can see at the bottom there, a 45.4 on new mediums, whereas Nibbles now out into the mid 45s and high 45s will be slower than Caliber. So Caliber will be decreasing the net loss that he has to the Stosilla car. And Joker continues for another lap as well. So he's going to go 2 laps further than the Clockwork car, but it looks like he can do another 2 laps on fuel. So potentially they will be cutting a pit stop out, and Noir Antares, who is 9 seconds behind them, will have to do it on track or potentially in the pit strategy, whereby they just end up not having to actually race each other in this crossover phase. And as expected, Jaylee with that soft tyre is all over Noir Antares. So, but a big tank slapper from Jaylee, and that isn't going to do too much lap time damage, but it will just put a little bit of deg on the rear for him. So it is an assault on all front for Noir. He's losing to guys in front. He's being assaulted from the rear. He's going to have to catch Joker and hold off Jaylee, who's on those softs. Oh, the brake disc's kind of faded. That's all right. Just brightness levels. So can he hold off Jaylee? And Timlaw has not gained at all on Speedy Man Charles. Charles has pulled away from him. Tim with a 46.2, which is his personal best. But Speedy Man Charles on the softs is very much a speedy man. So Charles finally getting his rhythm together and is looking the goods suddenly in P6 there. Not sure where he is in terms of tyre strategy, but that's a good pace in the 45, mid-45s. That's as quick as Nibbles is. So Charles has come alive in the middle after starting second, being thrown off the road and shuffling to the back. He's on his own little comeback mission. I'm starting to think the mediums are not the tyre in this condition. Because the mediums, the softs have just come, the soft runners have come alive. You got mid 46s playing, well, it's 46.3 from now, which is not bad. But we're seeing, low 45 there from Nibbles, and Caliber continuing on. He's on to his 14th lap of this stint. I wonder if he'll go the extra lap to match what Nibbles did. And Frequency confirming the mediums are not able to hang on in the cooler temperatures because they just do not hit the tyre window. So if you've got a particularly scrubbing car, maybe, and it was Shadow in, but it looks like he has a massive lead over Illusion, who's having a rough time of it. I'll not mention him. Save him really, because that's not gone well for him. But let's see. Well, Caliber, he has to come in this lap. Surely that tyre wear is too great for him to forge on through. So on mediums, the McLaren was able to go 1 lap further in the hotter conditions. Oh, never mind. He'll go the same distance as Caliber because Caliber refuses to listen to me. He's at a 47.5, but he's desperate to get back on strategy with the Stosilla car. But remember, the Stosilla car will still go further in this stint because there is no way he will only do 10 laps unless that left rear gets to him, because the fronts look good, but that left rear is a little sketchy. So the mid-engineness of the McLaren might just be playing into the equation. We'll have to wait and see if he can do a couple more laps. He's got fuel for about 3 more laps, but does he have the tyres for 3 more laps? He could have gone a little bit too hard. So when he had those mid-45s, it was okay, but when he started doing 45.3 in the middle there, big slide here and there, and that makes a big difference. And Joker finally pits after his second 12-lap stint. Tyre wear at the rear looking fantastic. Tyre wear at the front, not so much. It's just a balance problem they've got in that car. And that means that Noir comes out ahead, but they are side by side with Jaylee out of turn 1. So either defensive line or Jaylee's made the move and Noir's made the switchback. As we go through turn 3, Noir holding on, but this is not what he needs. He needs to be getting nice, clean, fast laps in order to try and pull away from Joker, to try and get him in these undercut phases, instead of having to fight someone for 3rd place. But he knows that if he lets Jaylee through, Jaylee's softer tyre... Oh, jeez, I thought someone left. I thought I saw Joker. I was very concerned. Anyway, He knows that he lets Jaylee through. Jaylee's tyre strategy means that he's able to pull ahead in clean air. So Noah has to hold Jaylee up for as long as he can, so that when we get to the end of the race, even though they have a different tyre strategy at the moment, they will be able to stay ahead. Although I don't think any of these two are cutting one pit stop relative to each other. So maybe Clockwork have to do some thinking here about what they're doing in strategy land, because the guys on softs are going very quickly. They are now 32 seconds behind Nibbles, so when Nibbles and Caliber pit, they will be... Yeah, Caliber running on rims, I agree. I'm just realised that, oh hang on, if they're 30 seconds ahead, he should have come out of the pits by now. And he hasn't, because there he is, running on no tyre, doing mid-47s, and not caring at all. There's the yellow flag, which means I think I know who that is, and it's Illusion. Anyway, Caliber running around on rims, as stated. Speedyman Charles in the P5 car in the Corvette, and hopefully that he can relaunch his attack. But I know what Caliber's doing. Caliber's decided that I've still got time in hand. I need to be on whatever strategy the Steel car is on. I will do 16 laps on a set of tyres. I don't care whatever they do, I'm doing it too. I will save the pit stop. But now we're past the 45-minute mark. That's why he didn't come in. Because if he'd come in at the start of his lap, he would have been just short of 45 minutes. And that would have been just short of halfway. These guys are now doing only 3 pit stops. That's what the plan is. So Caliber will be in this lap. Nibbles has to try and displace him, because that is real for position. Will Nibbles be in this lap? Will he be around for another one? I think he will. Ooh, I don't know what the correct choice is, because he's done 11 laps on this stint, but he needs to average something like 13 for the next 2. He has to go by on these softs if he wants to make the strategy work, whereas Caliber can do a soft stint and a medium stint, probably balance it out a little bit better. Or he can do 2 medium stints. So, Caliber relinquishes the lead with his tyres looking far better than they should in visual form. But he has lots of fuel. So his stationary time will be a lot shorter than the guys around him. Because Nibbles into the red means he's less than 10, and Caliber with 16, and it's a full tank of fuel. Caliber is going back to the medium tyres. He's going to go another super long stint and then cut to the softs for the final stint. Caliber's hand is played. Now, it is up to Nibbles to come out. Oh, that's the question. Do you go to the mediums with Caliber and try and stick with him, and then go with the softs and stick with him? Or do you go to the softs, take the lead, and then have Caliber coming at you, trying to run you down in the final stint on softs? If Nibbles... I don't know if Nibbles has got the length to do this on softs. It's going to be tight. He needs to do basically 13 lap stints twice from here. And he's done 1 lap, which means he's got to do 13 and 12. And he's done 12 in this run, which means he's going to have to save tyres once to get a 13 and then do a 12. In order to get to the end on only 1 more stop after this pit stop, obviously. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting. Maybe he can do 12s from here if he got this right, because that would be 49 laps. I'm not sure if the race is going to go 49 or 50, but it's going to be close either way. If it's 49, this man here is in the box seat to win, because he can go soft to the end of the race, having started on the mediums and gone 15 laps. What is the hand he plays right here and now? This is where we decide whether or not Caliber has an uphill battle or an easy run home. Drop things, banging things. Steel Racing Team. Finland's best racing team in this competition, and probably best racing team that I know of. Oh, it's short. It's very short. He's in the lead. He took less fuel. That is very important, because now he's got clean air. He's got a gap over Caliber. He will have to put more fuel in at the next pit stop. Remember that, because those two from this point need the same amount of fuel roughly to the end of the race. But Caliber had a full tank, whereas Jaylee put in something in the region of 60, high 60s on fuel. So he will need something in the region of 30 more litres of fuel at the next pit stop, which is 3 seconds. but he will be on softs now. It is up to Nibbles to run away from Caliber on those softs versus those mediums. If he can do this well enough, and then get an undercut as well on Caliber, because Caliber's going to go 15 laps potentially here, and then cut to the softs. Ooh, this is spicy. This is spicy. Stosilla Racing team have played a blinder on strategy. I think Caliber's got the uphill battle. Caliber trying as hard as he can to get in touch with Nibbles, while Nibbles is still dialing in on these brand new soft tyres. He has to do something to break them apart, and fair point from Harry. Noir and Jaylee are still fighting for position. Noir missing the apex there, but keeping it alive. But we can see Jaylee's tyres are just starting to wear out. They have been nose to tail for laps. And, oh, looking close there. But, oh, Jaylee, I thought he'd run off the road there, and that was very scary. And then Noir runs wide, so they end up back in the same place. Oh, come on, Noir, find the apex, mate. It's right there. Oh, Jaylee looking for another line. They're trying everything, these two. But not far behind them, 10 seconds, is Tim Law, who's got a 10-second lead over Joker with that undercut playing out. But he's going to have to pit one more time, I believe, than Joker. Jaylee now with the slipstream goes to the outside. He's ahead, not quite ahead. Now he's ahead. They break for turn one. Oh, Noir leaning on Jaylee, but there's room. Now side by side. Still side by side through two. They'll be side by side across the sector and into turn three. And yeah, Noir able to take back the position there, because that corner hard to go around the outside of, but it sets him up really nicely to get a run into the hairpin. Oh, a bit of nibbling. Nibbles is in lead. Oh, that's a bit more than a bit of nibbling. And Noir on the outside is displaced, and yeah, there's the flashing. He's not happy about it, and understandably so. And that's a battle that has been going on for a long time. And it's starting to rain. It's raining. Well, strategy just got irrelevant because we have surface water and lots of it. It is probably, a sixth up the bar because it's thin thirds. Now, this is where things get spicy. The right tyre to be on is the soft, because the soft will handle the rain better. But what more rain is coming? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to just ease back off? Because the rain was in the middle sector and nowhere else as far as we saw. But the track wetness is still climbing. It's been through this part of the track. So maybe just one little isolated shower and the track is back to drying. So, ooh, very spicy there. I wonder if Noir was too busy looking at the rain and got displaced there, because that sort of sprung up out of nowhere and put a lot of water down in a very big hurry. And Illusion has made his way, I believe, into the pits to park up, because that's not going well. But yeah, Noir lost 1.2 seconds there. And the adaptive drivers are going to deal with the grip loss much better than those who are robots that only do the same thing because that's what they've learned to do, whereas Caliber, not one of those. He's a freak. Whatever much grip he's got, he uses. So soft run should be better off. So Nibbles pulling away from Caliber. Tim getting back towards these guys. Joker getting back towards Tim. It doesn't appear to be raining anywhere on circuit anymore. So just a passing shower by the look of things. Geez, that could have spiced things up in a big way. Potentially more rain coming. But you have to keep an eye on the radar. So those mid-47s from Jaylee doing enough on the soft tyres. Getting enough tyre wear and longevity. So he's got pace and longevity, and that puts him up into third place. And Clockwork Motorsports, Noir and Tares is displaced down to fourth. Oh, running wide, and it's raining again at the top of the circuit. Oh, the water climbing with every bit of the road we see. Definitely raining now. It would be perfect for these two because they are pitting in the next lap or so. if the rain were to ramp up, and I agree frequency, it is a light rain and it's only in little patches, but if it ramped up in the next lap or so, they would knock a pit stop, perfectly time their pit stop, but if it comes in, say, 3 or 4 laps, they would be massively disadvantaged because they'll have to pit twice, whereas the guys at the front will only have to pit the once for tyres. But it looks like the rain is not quite heavy enough, and it's only clipped the corner of the circuit there, the westernmost edge of it. Oh, Noir missing turn 1 there. But now that Jaylee's tyre wear has got bad, Noir should be coming back towards him. He's got much more tyre available to him, and fuel as well. So, interesting. Oh, Tim's made a mistake and lost 2 seconds. And it's dry. It's fully dry at this part of the track. So different parts of the track are differently wet at this point because the rain has come through in little showers in little sections, and it's dried up very quickly in the easternmost half of the circuit. We'll see if the westernmost part of the circuit's still got any moisture in it. But this is fascinating, this evolution of the race. We will see. CWM 4 and 5, they'll be happy with 4 and 5, probably disappointed with 4. So, Shadow in. Speedyman Charles now in 7th and staying there. So, we'll check back in the second half of the field in a minute because I want to see when these two pit, because Jaylee is now coming back towards Noir with the tyre wear. I wonder if Noir got a bit tilted by that overtake. Understandably so, being nudged out of the way and then just driven past, but we will have to wait and see. I feel like the wind direction is not the direction in which the rain came from, but anyway. And Jaylee's in this lap. Noir stays out, so Jaylee will get an undercut and will come out ahead unless he has much less fuel, but he does not. Alright. So Tim, sort of in no man's land, is boxing this lap as well. Nice and clean, very sensible. Joker will go past him. And Speedyman Charles has arrived on Joker. Caliber's disconnected! He's disconnected from the lead, the win! No! No, that's ruined the win, the fight for the win. Oh, as Speedyman Charles gets up the inside of Joker, or a bit of a nudge, but he was up the inside well early enough to take the road position to have that fight. But no, SBM Caliber is disconnected and the fight for the win with Nibbles has been ruined. It now leaves Nibbles well clear in the lead, some 15 seconds ahead of Noir and Taras, who will pit in the next lap or so, and will pit at least one more time, as well as Nibbles having to only pit one more time. Nibbles can now just relax, look after those soft tyres and make sure they get to the required distance. That has taken the sting out of this race. It looked like Caliber might be beaten on strategy, on tyre wear, something that's never happened before, but Caliber is only defeated by Caliber. His internet lets go and sticks him out of the race. SBM having a nightmare indeed, AequepaX Racing, who are the hosts of this room. So of course this is the AequepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship, GTWEC, and this is Season 2 of that competition. This is Round 3 and the second race of Round 3, so it's a bit complicated to say it's Season 2, Round 3, Race 2. Anyway, Speedman Charles now up in 3rd position. He's due a pit stop, but not too soon. Noir and Tara's pits on this lap, doing another 11 lap stint, I believe. Jaylee will come through, but 52, 36, geez, he's not far ahead of Tim. I think Tim's already pitted. So Speedyman Charles is looking to fight here for 5th place. And Joker Joker's going to go a while yet. So the fight is very confusing. And Noir comes out behind Jaylee as expected. Oh, I thought I heard a locker. Maybe not. So Tim is not going to catch Joker, I don't think. It's saying like 11 seconds plus 2 plus 1.5. Yeah, he's 15 seconds back. He's not going to catch Joker. He's not going to catch Joker for that position. So Joker's going to get Tim Law on strategy. Speedyman Charles is going to be fighting Tim Law when he comes out for his next pit stop. The midfield is still very much up in the air, actually, because Speedman Charles is currently sitting second, ahead of Joker and Jaylee and Noir. But clear ahead, 36 seconds in the lead. STS, Nibbles, the Silla Racing team have played the best race. So, as much as Calibre is an incredibly quick driver, Nibbles has had a good season last season and this season. They've not been this competitive to be able to take on Calibre with that much better performance in terms of tyre wear, degradation, and just consistency on pace, being able to run softs when others are running mediums in order to make them last long enough. Let's see. So Jaylee now has to pass Joker on track because Joker will be out there for a few more laps and then probably cut to soft tyres, I think. Unless he can get there on only one more stop. He'd go, what, 5 more laps? Nah, I don't think so. Maybe. Maybe, actually. No, he should be able to get that done. He will make one more pit stop. So Joker is one more pit stop. Nibbles is one more pit stop. But Jaylee and Noir and Tim are 2 more stops. And I think Charles might go one more stop. We'll find out. Nobody hitting the apex there. Don't need it. And Noir not going to be able to make the difference. Noir's gone to softs. So he's done 11 lap stints to buy himself a run on softs. I think... I don't know. That's this one. I wonder if he can get the mileage he needs or if he's bought himself the ability to do 9 lap stints or something like that on his strategy instead of the 11s. But I don't know if they've planned for this, so we'll see if he can catch and pass Jaylee, or if the softs haven't worked for him, or if they have worked for him. We'll just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Jaylee, fighting Joker, gets the run. Does Joker block him? No, Joker realises this is not his fight, because if he's already here, it's not going to be enough to keep Jaylee at bay. Noir also has to pass Joker here. And that is for position because these guys both have the same number of pit stops, I believe, to the finish. Now that they've come in. There should all be 1 pit stop remaining, actually. So this is for position and it matters. So Joker not really fighting Jaylee because it's too early, basically, to make that call. He knows that he won't end up ahead. But maybe against Noir. It could be that he's thinking about the fight with Tim slowly and Speedman Charles later on. So we'll just stay with Joker because when he chooses to pit and how he chooses to go about the fighting and defending will determine a lot here. And Charles is in. I don't think Charles can do half an hour on a set of tyres, so Charles will have to make 2 stops. So where he comes back out, he is still 1 stop away from the finish. And that's his real quote-unquote position, but he is going very quickly in that car. So his gap to Tim is something like 6 or 7 seconds. It'll probably grow as he gets down to turn 1. But Speedyman Charles, definitely in 6th place at the moment, but he's got half a tank of fuel and brand new fresh soft tyres, and he's only got to do 15-minute stints. So he can attack full on and try and catch Tim, who's now on worn mediums. So expect Tim to come under threat from Charles as Noir looking to make the move on Joker, but not quick enough at this point. Oh, big dive. Oh, bit of contact in lag land, but it wasn't too bad. It was side to side rather than front to rear, and Noir has cleared Joker, and he needed to do that because Jaylee is now 2.5 seconds ahead of him as he's trying to adjust to the soft tyre. Oh, Calibre having to quit due to not being able to see in the darkness. What? Hang on, I gotta check this out. What's he said? Oh, he couldn't see anything. Okay, so he literally, his screen brightness was so low that he could only see curbs and he just could not find the track. He was literally looking for curbs to determine where he was, and his pace fell apart as a result. Oh, and he's got glasses, right. So Calibre having to retire because he straight up couldn't find the track anymore in the darkness. So some brightness setting in his screen has gone awry, some contrast setting, and that has ruled him out of this race. I'm not sure if he ends up 9th or 10th technically, because he's done more laps than Illusion has, but we'll have to wait and see what the stewards do in terms of that being a non-finish, whereas Illusion may still finish. I'm not sure if he's done more or less laps. Anyway, STS Nibbles chilling out front. He has got a huge 39-second lead. He's a lap ahead of Mr. Slowly, and he owes us one more pit stop for the day, but that won't be for another 4 or so laps. In second place, we have Jaylee in the Aston Martin, which I think was a hybrid THG setup. I thought it was like THG and Jaylee, but I'm not sure who's racing this weekend because I can't see any branding on the car. And they have a 2.2 second lead to Noir and Tara's, who swapped to the softs for the first time. He's gone into the 45s, but I don't know if that's quick enough for him. I think he'd be disappointed with a 45.8 and a 46.0 unless he's trying to look after them to make sure they have to go a little bit further than he would otherwise have wanted. But down to 2.0, 2.1, never mind. 2.0 again, yay! And he's making ground on Jaylee to try and steal back what would have been third place, but is now second place. And we see Joker into the pits for his final stop on those mediums. He had a 10-second lead over Tim, who will have to make one more pit stop as well. But I can't see Tim overcoming that 10-second gap in order to, with one pit stop left, he's going to get undercut. He's going to have a shorter stop, yes, but I don't think it'll be short enough. And then Speedyman Charles, who's now only 5 seconds behind Tim. And he hasn't set a fast lap yet, unless that 44... Is that 44.8 legitimate? Oh my lord! He's only 3/10 down on Caliber's lap time. Speedy Man Charles is indeed very quick. He is flying in this phase. He's taken nearly 2 seconds out of Tim Law on that lap alone. Tim does have to pit again, but so does Charles, and they have similar, fuel levels, but Charles is coming. So keep an eye on that, as is Noir, who's now down to 1.7, on Jaylee. So 45.4, that's more like it. That's what we were expecting from Noir. He's a second off Caliber, but at the same time, you're not expecting him to run Caliber pace because Caliber. Interesting stuff. So the gap ebbing and flowing. So depending on which sector of the lap, these guys are quicker and slower. Shadow comes in from 8th place, and Neth is, of course, still in the pits. So Mr. Slowly is only 17 seconds up the road from him, but it's about to get bigger. Still 1.9 seconds. It looks like the BMW makes up time whenever Jelly makes a mistake, but then loses a little bit on the straights. Just inching back away, yeah. Not quite as quick on the straight line. All right, where's Shadow going to go? Out of the pits. Noah has to go around him. Really not what you need to do. Now he's missed the sort of apex and line there, and that's going to cost him a couple of tenths. So not ideal for Shadow to pop out of the pits at that time. It's cost him 3 or 4 tenths. Yeah, he's down 2.5 on himself in Sector 1 alone, which is literally one corner. So we'll have to make up all that time again. It's 45.6 on that lap compared to a 46.0, so he did make up time, but he's lost basically all of it again. Let's check back in. 3.5 seconds between Charles and Tim. It's Corvette versus Corvette. 44.9 on that lap from Charles. He is going ham. He's in the right time, right pit strategy to do it, because he does not need to complete the same number of laps as everyone else needs to. He just needs to sort of get through them quickly as possible. You don't have to worry about trying to extend it out to the maximum length of the tyre. Right now back to 1.6. So it looks like he makes up time in the second sector through that high-speed sweeper into the hairpin on Jaylee, but he's still a long way back, and he's going to need to make up more ground if he wants to. Yeah, his tyre wear is worse than Jaylee's, because Jaylee pitted a lap or two before him, and that gap was bigger. So it seems to be the BMW gets to about halfway on the tyres and then just starts chewing them up. That on Noir refuses to let the steering out and just deal with the understeer. We'll have to wait and see if Noir can get close enough to make the move, but he's got that 1 lap advantage in terms of tyre wear. Let's see if he can put it to good use. It's now 1.3 seconds, 1.4 seconds. Meanwhile, Nibbles out front, 40-second lead, nothing to worry about. Do another lap, come in for more tyres. I'll probably come in this lap, actually. So the leader will be in for his last time on this lap. These guys will come in, well, we'll find out. It's down to 1.2. Jaylee has gone to the cliff, I reckon. He's out to 46.5 on that lap, whereas Noir was a 46.0, but Noir was displaced by about 0.3 in Sector 1. This is going to be big. Noir has to get it done. He has to get right in on the back of Jaylee and put a quick pass straight through in order to beat the Finn in this race. Clockwork looking for second place. Jaylee looking to steal second place after the unfortunate retirement from SBM Callaway, who had an absolute barnstormer going and a great finish, unfortunately for us, taken away by those issues. It's down under 8 tenths now. It's down to 7 tenths. Better exit from the BMW. He's now into slipstream and thus dirty air, so he has to be careful through these high-speed corners. Nibbles is in, slowly is in. Oh, Jaylee runs wide into the grass. Keeps it alive, though. Gap is now 4 tenths. It's 6 tenths, though, because the understeer kicked back in on the M6 with the dirty air. He's also going to have tyre wear. They need to do one more lap, both of them, I reckon. Noir needs to be careful because they need to do 20 more minutes. So they're both running out of tyres very quickly. But still, Jaylee holding slightly worse tyre wear, but with dirty air, not much Noir can do other than understeer and lose ground. He's going to have to hope Jaylee makes a mistake and he can sneak past, and then they can both dive into the pits. And Noir needs to find a way to look after those tyres on these soft tyres. He's not doing a great job of it so far, but he's managed to gain back the 3 seconds he needed to gain back, which he lost in the undercut phase. Jaylee's going to be on rim by the end of this lap, and probably so is Noir, but if it's more than rim, he's going to have a lot more grip. And you can see there, running wide from Jaylee, but a better line from Noir. And makes the hairpin, both of them. A quick check-in on Tim, and Speedy Man Charles has arrived on Tim Law. They're about similar on tyre wear, but Charles has the massive advantage of having soft tyres in this equation. Only 7 tenths between them. You'd expect Charles to be able to fly on past Tim Law in this little phase, but when Tim comes in, he will get the undercut, so they will have to fight again for the final stint. This is not done, but Charles, what a recovery from the very back, and he's looking at 4th place. And we can see Noir still stuck at 8 tenths. Oh, and then runs wide, so yeah, the dirty air just killing him. A little bit of latency there. I can't tell if that's understeer or if that's latency, but I'm pretty sure it's latency. But he's basically run out of tyre. It's tough for Noir, because if you come in now, you have to come in now, basically, because if he does another lap, he's going to get undercut pretty aggressively. But it is only a mid-46 compared to his 45 earlier on. 45.4, so he's only losing a second a lap there. But yeah, he's got not enough tyre. He has to come in. It's not worked for him. He's got closer. But, oh, jeez. Both of them making it very messy entries into the pits there. What does Tim do? Yeah, Noir with less fuel is going to be 2 seconds behind. He's got it all to do all over again. What does Tim do? Tim stays out. And he's going to fight Speedy Man Charles. Where will Charles go? Where will he make the move? He's got all the grip in the world. He just pulls out casually with a nice slipstream. Outbreaks Tim into turn 1. And it's not a good moment for Clockwork. They haven't got it done at the front, and they've been just displaced here in the battle for 4th. So looking like a potential 2-4 becoming a 3-5 for the Clockwork boys. Strategy not been their friend. It looks like they just haven't been able to manage the tyre wear the way they needed to. Something they'll have to fix out in the settings or the driving. They'll have to work it out in the interim between the next round, which is round 4 of the AequepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship. This is Season 2, and there is no drop in quality between Season 1 and Season 2, let me tell you that. Sasilla Racing Team with STS Nibbles back out on his soft tyres. No dramas for him. only 16 minutes and 15 seconds remaining between him and a near certain victory. Only rain, some form of chaos can stop him, and I can't see that being a drama for him, because even if it does start raining, he's got a pit stop in hand. So long as he times his stop well, he will be okay. They can take a cautionary pit stop and still afford to lose time being on the wrong tyres, even if that means playing it safe, because they have that much margin in hand. Noir's ahead of Jaylee. What? Noir's got way less fuel than Jaylee, though. Okay. I was not paying attention. I've been caught out. Has Jaylee made a mistake? I'm so confused. And Tim's in? Yeah, he's made a mistake. Jaylee's gone off the road. He started 2:03, which is 3.5 seconds slower than Noir. And there's no way that was 3.5 seconds worth of fuel, because Noir was already 10 litres down when they came into the pits, and he's probably now 20 down. No, I don't think he has probably overfueled. Yes, I agree, but I don't think the fuel was the difference, because I thought I read it was 10 litres per second, and so Noir being 10 litres down means he was already a second down on fuel, and he's probably gained a second there. But I think Jaylee's made a mistake when I wasn't watching, unfortunately. Sorry, everyone. And that's my bad. And yeah, Tim, 5.8 seconds behind Joker, but he's gone to the softs. He's gone to the softs, and he's got brand new tyres. So Tim is going to try and run down Joker and try and beat. So he's currently 6th, but he's going to try and run down Joker and pass him. He's got to try and beat Speedy Man Charles, who will come in a couple of laps' time, maybe this lap, in order to grab fresh soft tyres himself. But the gap, 1.9 seconds between Noir and Jaylee. Noir has to look after those tyres. He cannot afford to do what he did last stint and burn them out and then have nothing left for the last couple of laps. So he's going to look after that front left tyre specifically, because they are particularly burned here. Doesn't matter if Jaylee comes back towards him. If he starts feeding Jaylee some dirty air, we saw, even on the mediums, he could hold Jaylee off and make him slow. So he's just got to find a way to not understeer as much and make these tyres last longer if he wants to hold off Jaylee, who has been probably quicker than him for the balance of the race on those soft tyres. And Charles does another lap. So we've got a couple of things trying to play out here. So Joker on worn mediums, being hunted down by Tim Law, who is trying to undercut Speedy Man Charles, who will come back out and fight both of them. So the fight for what is now going to be second place up in the air between Noir and Jaylee, as they will fight to the death for that one. And then the fight for fourth is now a three-way fight between Speedy Man Charles, AXR Joker from AequepaX Racing, and the Clockwork Motorsport car of Tim Law. And then you've got Mr. Slowly, who is a minute and 40 off the lead, but 40 seconds behind Tim Law for the Full Throttle Racing, FTR. He has done a 44.8, which is a very quick lap time on those soft tyres, but he will owe us another pit stop, maybe? He's got to do 13 minutes. It's a lot of laps. 7 laps from here. I think he owes us a pit stop. Shadow is 2 minutes in the lane. I think he is chilling out there. Looks like he's not fueling. Might have had to make a comfort break, or he has retired the car. Either way, that looks like 8th place locked up. So there's only 7 cars on track, which means there's less potential for Nibbles to run into any problems, as he's just cruising around there doing 44.9, a personal best just for giggles. So Noir with worse tyre wear than Jaylee already. It is going to be it's going to be sorted in the last few laps. Noir needs to save tyres, and he needs to save them now. Simple as that. You can't try and save tyres when your opponent's all over you with a big delta. You need to save tyres now, not think about the gap. Even if the gap starts coming down, start feeding your opponent dirty air. Noir needs to save tyres. It doesn't matter that you pulled 3/10 on him. You've worked your tyres too hard. And Noir does a 44.7. Now that's a great lap time, but I don't think it's a good idea to be chasing Caliber's best lap when you know your opponent has better degradation than you. Like, you've just got to back it up, hit apexes, look after the tyres. This is not, this is, where the strategy comes in. It's like, this is not an option. We need you to box this lap. It's no option. You have to back it up and protect the tyres if you want to win. I think Noir's decided that his strategy to win is just to drop Jaylee by being faster at him, but I don't know if he realises that his deg is worse than Jaylee's. As we see Speedyman Charles coming out of the pits. No, not out of the pits. Wait, where is he? He has come out of the pits. He's ahead. He's ahead of Joker. So he's had a very, very short final stop with no fuel, and he's stolen 4th place in this race. Well done. What a comeback. That is a fantastic effort. And now we can see Joker's only 3 seconds ahead of Tim. He's got pretty solid tyre wear so far for his couple of laps he's done. So Speedyman Charles, despite being undercut, had way more fuel in hand and has ended up 5 seconds up the road over Tim Law and has nicked 4th place from the Clockwork Motorsport driver. So potentially it's all going wrong at both ends for Clockwork. They're currently 2nd and potentially fighting for 3rd here with Jaylee chasing them down. But Tim Law, who had been running 5th for the balance of this race and was looking to steal 4th there, has ended up looking in 6th and now trying to catch AXR Joker, who is on worn mediums going to the end of the race here, doing 47-second laps. Charles has blown through him. Great driving. He's ended up just putting his head down, sticking to his strategy, and quietly made pace while the people around him didn't. Tim Law now 1.9, Jaylee out to 3 seconds. So I think Jaylee's decided that his tyre wear wasn't good enough and is looking after them. Because he's done 45.3, 45, oh, now 45.7, that's a mistake. I don't think he's decided to start saving tyres. I think that's a mistake. And yeah, you can see his front left is actually worse condition than Noir's now on that lap. So he's just pushed a little harder. And it's not gone well. So Noir now with a lead. He's done a 45.47 and a 45.0. He's out to nearly 3 seconds. If he just protects that tyre, it's job done. But we're going to go looking at... Oh, it was just lag. I thought I heard him screaming off the road. We're going to look in on Joker here as he tries to hold off Tim Law for 5th place on his longer medium stint strategy, which will cut pit stops out. But it means that Tim Law has rolled the dice, basically, come at him on softs in the final stint. Hopefully that Corvette's got the degradation to go with him. We'll find out. The gap's coming down every corner, half a tenth, a tenth, a tenth and a half. The long sweep of air, it was 1.2 on the way in, now it's 1.05 into the next braking zone. Tim brakes a little deeper and takes another tenth in that braking zone, gets a better exit, takes another tenth on the exit. He is hawking Joker down. Now this is a 2-part problem. Actually, it's a 3-part problem. 1, can Tim Law get to the Joker? Yes, he can. Can Tim Law pass Joker? As of course Murray Walker once said, catching is one thing, passing is quite another. And the 3rd question is, once Tim Law does get through, assuming he gets through, is can he hold on to the tyres and stay ahead? So, problem 1 ticked off. Yes, Tim can catch Joker. Can Tim pass Joker? AequepaX Racing and Clockwork Motorsport here for 5th place at the AequepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship Season 2, Round 3, Race 2. The AequepaX car and the Clockwork car fighting in the championship last I checked. I'll have to work on that one in a minute. But Tim Law in the slipstream, unable to get it done just yet. Joker blocking the inside, now feigning to the outside as Tim arrives. He's around the outside, he's brake deep, he stays around the outside, he holds on the curb, he's got the drive. It's a small lead for Tim, it's a tenth, which is not quite a car length. It's now a tenth and a half. Can he outbrake him? Oh, Joker holding the inside, but Tim gets it done. Tim holds on around the outside of turn 3, which is generally not possible, but he had most of a car length clear to avoid overlap. Joker trying to stay with him. Now, the 3rd part of the equation. What's Tim's tyre wear like? So Joker's tyres are pretty cooked here, but there's only 7 minutes and 15 seconds left, whereas Tim's are pretty new. Tim's racing softs are digging like mediums. He should have been on the softs from the start. He's doing a fantastic job managing these. He's doing low 46s, high 45s. Doing a fantastic job there. But he has got far worse tyres than Speedyman Charles, who pitted very recently and is 6 seconds up the road with his brand new softs as of the previous lap. He's done a 44.518, fastest lap of the race. I'm not sure if there are points for fastest lap, but Speedyman Charles has fastest lap. And those brand new tyres and a very low fuel level has let him surpass the previous best lap set by SBM Caliber, who started last, worked his way up to the front and was going to have a massive strategy fight, and ended up having to retire with no visibility and illusion, is back on track, so he's decided he wants to finish the race, which makes sense. He should be doing that, and in theory should be able to surpass Caliber by doing so. But Jaylee now is down to 2.5 seconds behind Noir and Tyrus, and Noir's tyres are better at the front, worse at the rear. So he's got better balance, but he's got better fronts, and I think the fronts are worth more than the rears at this point. And honestly, I'd rather have a more balanced car than an understeer car. But Noir just needs to look after them and do nothing crazy. He got the job done in that pit sequence when Jaylee made a mistake and went off the road. Oh, but Noir goes wide there. See, that's the kind of thing he just doesn't need to do. He needs to just be looking after the tyres. Oh, maybe it was latency. But no, it looks more tense. I'm not sure. He just needs to be looking after the tyres and not doing anything crazy, so that if Jaylee does get back to him, he can fight him, and not trying to do this crazy fast lap thing or anything silly and throwing it off the road or just burning the tyre out and making himself vulnerable. Just needs to look after it, and he can keep second place. And that looks to be the closest fight on the track. We'll have to wait and hear from Jaylee and Noir as to what happened on the outlap after their respective pit stops. I wonder if, because it was a 1 second gap, I wonder if they've come out of the pits side by side and they've ended up dueling down to turn one. Because I thought that Noir would have to take a second's worth more fuel, but he probably took a second less. So my bad on deciding that that fight was done and dusted. I should have been on it as they exited pit lane. We'll have to ask the drivers what happened. But we are on lap 48 now. STS Nibbles miles ahead in the distance, still with 4.5 minutes left in this race. He will do at least 2 more laps, making this a 50-lap race, potentially 51, depending on if he backs it off or if he continues going hard. He's got a 42-second lead over Noir Antares, who has fought very hard for his second place. It would have been the podium if not for SBM Caliber's retirement, who was fighting in a big way with Stosilla Racing Team's STS Frequency. Frequency letting us know the McLaren feels fantastic around Autopolis. It's the most enjoyable drive they've had in this game. No man in the history of this game has found Autopolis to be the most enjoyable game. So this is a world first for the Stosilla Racing Team, finding a car combination that actually likes Autopolis. Because nobody likes Autopolis. So congratulations to them. Despite the fact they're about to win this race, they've had the biggest win in making Autopolis not horrible to drive, and you can tell they've had a great run. They've got great tyre wear, great pace. They are 41.5 seconds clear of the next best car, and this is not exactly like you've got one superstar in amongst people who aren't particularly brilliant. These are some really good drivers who they have destroyed here today. And Jaylee now that's 4.5 seconds down. Speedy Man Charles is only 9 seconds behind him. I don't think Jaylee's going to run out of tyres. Noir needs to look after those tyres because Speedy Man Charles is coming. Yeah, Nano Marinello. I thought I'd heard that name before. I can't remember where he's from. But Nano there, yeah, unfortunately Speedy did get punted on lap 1 and he got pushed off the road twice. It might have been Lang that pushed him off the road at turn 1. No, he got pushed wide and then he sort of fell off the road, but it might have been Lag later on. Anyway, my point was, if he'd had a cleaner start, there's a good chance he'd be up there fighting Noir and Jaylee. But ever since then, he's just been back on the comeback trail after being tilted for that first stint. He hopped on the softs and just has been an absolute monster. Taking fastest lap, he's now 8.6 seconds behind Jaylee with a couple of laps to play, but he's got so much more tyre. Yeah, I figured Nano you were his teammate, but I couldn't remember if I'd seen you somewhere else in terms of a different endurance racing thing. But yeah, I saw they started second, got pushed back to last, now they're back working towards the podium, and it's still potentially on. So Noir with a 5-second lead, but where will we end up? It's 2 more laps. It is 2 more laps because Stosilla Racing Team will cross the line with 2 minutes to go, and it's a 1 minute 46. So he will do 2 more laps at the front. It's a 51-lap race for him, but it looks like it's only going to be a 50-lap race for the guys in second and third, because I think that bug still exists and it still hasn't been fixed, where the race doesn't end after the leader crosses the line, it just ends on time, because apparently Polyphony hasn't seen an endurance race in the last 2 games, or bothered to notice, which is very disappointing. But it is what it is, and it means Noir and Torres and the Clockwork Motorsport team will have one more lap between them and the finish, and a nice second place podium finish. Jaylee now nearly 6 seconds down, but also only 6 seconds ahead of Speedy Man Charles. That front left tyre is gone. It was a 48.1 on that lap. A long way from his 45.1 on the previous, in the previous part of the stint. It's a 45.3 from Charles. Can Jaylee hang on? He's falling away from Noir. That's why I said Noir, all he had to do was look after the tyre. He didn't have to go fast, just had to look after it. Now he's got a 6-second lead over Jaylee. And Jaylee is falling back towards Speedy Man Charles. Charles has been robbed of a podium here today by the starting of this race, where he just got tilted after being nudged and bumped. Fell off the road a couple of times, pushed off the road, maybe one of them. Maybe two of them, not sure. He could have been lag, I'm not sure. But he has done a fantastic job to fly himself back into contention. We can see Tim Law here, only 8 seconds down on these softs, which has worked pretty okay for him, as he is now 8 seconds clear of Joker, who has basically run out of tyre. A full 54 seconds ahead of Mr. Slowly, who will be the first to finish, I think, potentially on this lap. But we'll just keep an eye on Jaylee. It's a 5-second lead. He's run out of tyres, and it's illusion in between them, giving me the illusion that it was a lot closer. Ah, funny. Not actually intentional, that joke. And we see Mr. Slowly, it's 1 minute 30. He's done. Jaylee had cleared it. We see Noir and Torres in second place, basically on rim here. Oh, Jaylee's actually ended up with more tyres, so Noir kept pushing, whereas Jaylee started conserving because Jaylee realised he had a problem. But Noir, basically running on rim, will come home in second place, well deserved. 44 seconds behind the leader, but there it is, 6 seconds down. It's Jaylee in the Aston Martin, finishing a mere 3.3 seconds ahead of Speedy Man Charles, who put on a fantastic final stint to try and work his way back. And there's Illusion and Tim Law finishing 5th for Clockwork Motorsport. Illusion for AequepaX Racing. And here's the other AequepaX Racing car. It's AequepaX AXR Joker for the Genesis X. He will finish a 1 minute and 11 off the lead, 8.6 seconds behind Tim Law, but a lap technically ahead of Joker. But finally, the man who deserves all the attention, all the praise, it's the Stossilla Racing Team, STS Nibbles, his teammate STS Frequency. Stossilla winning race 1, winning race 2, because no matter what happens here, they cannot be beaten. They have finished the 50th lap before anyone else. He could stop here and do donuts if he wanted. Nothing could stop him. And today the winner is the Stossilla Racing Team. Double wins here at Autopolis, round 3 of the GT World Endurance Championship by AequepaX Racing. Congratulations, Stossilla. They've put on an absolute clinic. Yes, we were robbed of the fight with Caliber, but their speed, their strategy, I believe this was the team to beat with this race. They had all the things going for them. They had the consistency, they had the tyre wear, they had the tyre choice. Everything came up perfect for the Stossilla boys. They've put together an absolute clinic. The only thing they didn't get was the fastest lap, but they didn't need it. They were close, they were only a 10th off, but that went to Speedy Man Charles in 4th with an incredible recovery drive. So once again, your podium, STS Nibbles in the win, C2M, Naira and Tyrus for Clockwork Motorsport in 2nd place, Jaylee in 3rd, the incredible recovery of Speedy Man Charles for 4th place, Tim Law for Clockwork Motorsport in 5th, AequepaX Racing's AXR Joker in 6th, Mr. Slowly for AequepaX Racing, sorry, Full Throttle Racing in 7th, SMM Shadows, Sidemax Motorsport in 8th at this moment in time, and Illusion for the 2nd AequepaX Racing car. Dramas for him in 9th, but we will see we'll see how the results play out with Caliber retiring, and whether or not he is ahead of 8th or 9th, depending on how the number of laps they've done. So 50 laps, 41 for Shadow, 29 for Illusion, and I'm not sure what lap we lost Caliber on, but the stream will tell us. The GT Finland races, Mr. N. Jusila. Oh, good name. I know how to pronounce that one. I'm very sorry. Jusila has won for Stossilla Racing Team. Congratulations to them. here from Autopolis in the AequepaX Racing GT World Endurance Championship. This was Season 2, Round 3, Race 2. Join us, I believe, in 2 weeks for the next round. I'll have a quick check of the calendar because we've got time. The next race is May 13th from Suzuka Circuit. So it is indeed in 2 weeks before we see the AequepaX Endurance Racing Series back again. Looking forward to having your company for that one. It's been good to be back. I am 60C for the AequepaX Racing Endurance League for the GT World Endurance Championship. This is Season 2. That was Round 3. I'll catch you all in Round 4. I'll see you then. Congratulations once again to Stasilla